everybody. Welcome to the Fish and Grits podcast, Atlanta's newest, and some might say, what was I going to say here? Most overqualified podcast about sports and sometimes other stuff. My name's Lionel. I'm joined by my usual co-host, Ryan.
Hello.
Micah.
What's up, everybody?
And Marco.
Hello, guys.
Marco, tell all the people at home about your shirt. What shirt are you wearing right now?
So a couple of weeks ago, me and my stepbrother Ryan entailed on a tie-dye project with my sister, and I came up with this wonderful U of Miami shirt because I was so compelled. I couldn't think of anything else I would want to tie-dye. I'm not with just random colors, but these colors ended up looking pretty random anyway. So I got this green, orange, and black tie-dye shirt with the U of Miami logo on the lapel. Is this a lapel?
No, it's a chest, the breast.
On my breastises. And it looks pretty fab. That's what I think.
I was going to say, it kind of looks like a paintball camo shirt. You know, it looks more tie-dye on the bottom, but like on the shoulders, it just looks like a weird, like trendy fashion camo shirt.
Yeah, none of my green or orange were really strong because Ryan used all of the orange.
I also want to
use all the black of his shirt.
I want to clarify something. You called Ryan your stepbrother.
Is that not right?
Your brother.
I'm your brother-in-law.
Oh.
Stepbrother would make it really weird.
Yeah, that'd be
awkward. Wait, what's a stepbrother?
That's where
That's
like
like
your mom marries his dad.
right.
Oh.
So
okay, so my bro-in-law.
Yeah, that's a little too cruel intentions for me. I mean, I know that we share, but I just
Ryan Phillippe in all his glory.
Yeah, I mean, he then went on to star in what was that hacker movie he was in?
What you did last summer?
No,
Swordfish?
Hacker, not like
Swordfish was Hugh
slasher.
Jackman.
Oh,
Did you even watch
oh.
that? He was in some hacker movie. It was fun.
Wasn't it? Was he not in Swordfish? That was a different guy.
It was
No,
like
that.
I don't remember. Hugh Jackman was in Swordfish, and John
Tim
Travolta.
McGruber.
Yeah, John Travolta.
Yeah, and
Creepy John Travolta. Creepy Johnny.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Hacker movie.
My endearing, like, he was in The Way of the Gun too. Ryan Phillippe. That was a good one. The Way of the Gun. That was a
The
good
Way
one.
of the Gun. What was
Yeah.
that about?
Guns.
Oh.
The scene from Swordfish that stuck with me, and I think this is probably because I was like 17 or 18 when it came out. When did Swordfish? Hey Siri.
Swordfish was probably like,
When did Swordfish come out?
she doesn't care.
By Swordfish came out on March 15, 2017.
No, not the album.
No, that's not right.
Don't ever ask Siri anything.
That was wrong.
2001. Oh, bet. Okay, so I was 15
Okay.
when the movie came out. And probably because of that, the scene that sticks with me the most is not like the fake bullet time, like Claymore Mine shot, you know? It's the part where John Travolta is trying to recruit Hugh Jackman, and he has some like random girl at a restaurant or some club or something like that fill her mouth with champagne and then try to give him a blowjob under the table.
I remember that.
And I just remember being like, I just didn't understand like why that happened, you know?
It was his induction into the Society of Secrets.
Right. And it also like, I think Swordfish was like playing itself as some like super hacker action movie to try to ride the Matrix coattails, you know, because the Matrix only come out like 2 years before that. And that's why I watched it. I ended up being very disappointed. But don't take my 15-year-old movie recommendations for really anything, because Requiem for a Dream was my favorite movie during that period.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, but I think it did something to me.
Oh.
Ass to ass. All right, let's start the show. First off, I want to say happy birthday to Tupac.
Tupac.
The
goat.
I wrote the song a long time ago. Real long time ago. Feel me?
Tell the other goat.
Yeah. My wife hadn't ever seen that.
Wow.
Really?
That particular skit. and I quote it a lot. So, like for instance, if someone runs into a table, I'm like, I told you, quit bumping the table. I'm like, watch this. And she's like, that's funny. So, Pac, if you are in fact alive somewhere, which I am less inclined to believe now than I was previously in my life, I just want to say happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. And this is the time to reemerge.
Right now. Come out of hiding.
We need you.
We don't have to talk about it, but who saw Dave Chappelle's 846?
Oh, I did.
I haven't watched
Yeah,
it. Just watched
Excellent.
Oh man, he went in depth.
Yeah, he was right. No one cares what comedian has to say right now.
I saw something where like Candace Owens, who everybody should hate, he apparently had a bit on Candace Owens.
Yeah, like a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, and she like tweeted, she was like, "Oh man, I don't care what Dave Chappelle says. He's still the best." And someone retweeted that. It was like, when you're so good that you can ether somebody on a YouTube video with millions of views and they still tweet that you're the best ever.
Right. Apparently, he also got he admitted that he got busy with Azalea Banks, the one.
He joked about it.
No, I think he was snitching on himself. She went renegade and dropped some tweets a while back that alluded to the fact that
we know, but I think that's why he referenced it.
She's a little special too, huh?
Yeah.
Who, Azalea?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's got a few screws that are loose.
Cloud chaser.
Also, just another piece of news before we get into the stuff that doesn't matter. So you may or may not, those of you who are listening to the podcast, I really hope that, you heard about this. But a young man by the name of Rayshard Brooks was murdered by the police a little while ago, a couple days. Was it last week already?
It's like the week right before the
I think it was the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Friday night,
So,
maybe Saturday.
Rayshard got he was drunk, which who cares? And he fell asleep in his car in the Wendy's drive-thru. So now cars were having to like drive around him to get their late night Baconator fix. And so the Wendy's called the cops. Now Atlanta PD was called to the scene, and you would think that they would be a little sensitive, one might say, to the current climate. If you watch the video, the body cam video of his arrest, which this is the fastest I have ever seen a body. How about now?
Much better.
That was a mic adjustment for our listeners.
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay, cool. So, sorry, I don't have my headphones. They're not charged. What was I doing? Okay, so this is the fastest I've ever seen body cam footage come out. Ever. Like it was like almost immediate. He was arguing with the cops. They had his license, they had his keys, they had his vehicle. He was drunk, he wanted to go home. He was saying that his family lived right around the corner. They tried to tase him. He took the taser and then ran away and was shot in the back. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide, which is progress. APD chief stepped down, which I get why you have to do that, but like at this point, it was just sort of like I have to do this because otherwise they're gonna fire me.
Well, they called for either her or Keisha.
Right. Keisha's not about to go.
Nah, Keisha's like
until they elect her vice president, and then she'll dip on us with the quickness.
No thanks. That's a whole nother show. They fired the cop, but I don't think he's been arrested yet. I wish that I had a job where I could shoot people in the back and then get fired. Right. But here's the part that I'm going to share on this podcast that not a lot of people know. I have a friend of a friend who worked Six Flags security with the officer who did the shooting. And allegedly, the officer who did the shooting is a racist pig.
I heard this.
And then that was verified by a whole bunch of people that used to work with him on Instagram, their Instagram threads, Facebook threads. I posted about it on my Facebook. So it seems like this guy's just a piece of shit. And I just want to, he's going to be our loser of the week. I just want to say big fuck you. Yeah, take the L, dude. I hope he goes to prison for the rest of his life. And we should abolish the police. Speaking of abolishing things that suck, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, he's had a bad week. I know that we talked a little bit about baseball the other day, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
So Major League Baseball owners kicked back a counter offer to the Players Association. And the counteroffer was ruled dead after one tweet by Andrew McCutcheon. It read, LOL. That's it. All lowercase. Andrew McCutcheon just went, and that's it. Players around the league are now saying, tell us when to show up, because they believe that, and they have evidence that the commissioner is negotiating in bad faith, right? Like the commissioner was always planning on forcing them to play about a 55, 60 game season. And it's just been stringing them along.
That's what it seemed like.
So Trevor Bauer, you guys know who Trevor Bauer is?
Mm-hmm.
Twitter goat.
Yeah, Trevor Bauer's a really good follow on Twitter, but he's got this thread. I'm gonna read you his rant. It's gonna take just a little bit, but I think it lays it out much better than I possibly could have. He says, so Rob, explain to us how you can be 100% sure that there's going to be baseball, but not confident there will be baseball at the same time. What changed between those statements? And then he did this emoji. Players told you to set the season, but it's too early to set the season right now, isn't it, Rob? Because then you'd have to explain why you're only going to impose 50 games when we could easily play 70 plus right now. The tactic is to bluff with no season again and delay another 2 and 3 weeks until you clear the risk of not negotiating in bad faith by trying to play as many games as possible. The public backlash combined with potential of having to explain yourself in front of an arbitrator isn't too appealing, is it? Let's see. The way I have it figured, you want to play between 50 and 60 games. Can't make it 50 because that would be too obvious to everyone what you were trying to do. And no one would think that it was a representative season. So you'd risk not getting your precious playoff money. Nope, can't have that. So you got to make it more than that, but not too many. You've gone as high as about 55 games, full prorated salary. So you'll probably settle somewhere around there, potentially a couple games higher than that to throw people off the scent. Isn't that right, Rob? So in that scenario, let's see. September 27th end date to protect playoff TV schedules, 60 game-ish. Going to have to be at least 4 off days in there. So that's 64 days. Plus about 20 for spring training, 84 days. September 20th, 84 days is July 5th, plus a week to get players to spring training. So tack on another 7. That takes us to June 28th. As I figured it, that's your deadline. But today's June 15th. So how do you delay another 13 days? And then, guess we all got that answer today. Threaten to cancel the season, threaten arbitration, threaten grievances, all the while hold the fans for ransom, hold the future of the game for ransom. Nobody believes your bluff, bud. You're holding a losing hand. Unfortunately, it's a losing hand for everyone involved, not just you. There's some saying out there about not killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. Check it out on the old Google machine. It's worth knowing. So Rob Manfred, he's the worst. And part of the reason why, we've been talking about how I'm on the side of the players and, I don't think billionaires should exist. But part of the reason why he's in this trouble is because he's been pushing owners to increase their debt load on their teams to finance things like brand new stadiums in Cobb County or renovations to their training facilities or big time player signings. So now all these billionaires that own teams are massively in debt because they did all of this stuff. And so they can't pay full salary to these players, which is why they were asking for all of those concessions. Anyway, Rob Manfred is killing baseball. Thoughts?
I mean, it's pretty. Trevor laid it out for everybody. It's pretty obvious as to what he's doing, because at this point, there's no reason they shouldn't be playing baseball. When in Korea and Japan, they're showing you how to do it. They're showing that it works. I mean, put yourself in a bubble. Don't allow fans. Get out there. Test your players weekly. When they're not on the field, have them wear masks at all times when they're around other players and media members. And just play baseball. It's the easiest sport, like you mentioned before the show, it's the easiest sport to separate yourself in.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark.
Good. I was just going to say that this is like a microcosm for what, I feel like they've been just setting this up the whole time. Because all the deals that they've thrown back and forth have all seemed trite and have all seemed like, oh, let's just throw something out there. And it seems like they were all sort of funneling down to this end, like he implicated in that tweet. And that's so obvious. And it would take such a bad leader as Rob Manfred to be so transparent about his just like unwillingness. And like you said, this is a game like on the golf level where we can make this happen. But it's just a resistance to this all because of that dollar.
Yeah, and I think it comes at a really inopportune time for Major League Baseball because baseball has been on a decline for years anyway. Speaking as a parent of an athletic child, baseball is an elite sport for kids. There's research that says that you have to start kids in baseball at like 3 or 4 so that they develop that muscle memory and hand-eye coordination. Jackson started playing T-ball the day after he turned 3. And that's why, even though he needed glasses, and we didn't know that for however long, he can hit almost anything you throw at him because he developed those nerve pathways and stuff. The problem is that in order to play it at a high enough level to get anything out of it, parents have got to come out of pocket for thousands of dollars.
Traveling baseball is not cheap.
No, travel ball is not cheap. And it's like, that's for like little league, like little kids, like my son is 8. And then you've got the issue where like, I coached T-ball and soccer until my kid made it to a level where he didn't need me to coach him anymore. Like he needed better instruction than I was able to give him. One of the things that they tell you in all of these coaching classes that you go through is that the number one reason why kids quit sports is because it's not fun. Right? Well, try telling that to all the parents at like a mountain park district baseball game
out in East Cobb.
Oh my God, man. These parents, these coaches, like it's just so toxic. So like Jackson loves baseball. That kid, he can rake first off. Like it's disgusting. He's a switch hitter. He likes playing middle infield. Like he's like perfectly suited, right? He's fast. He would have so much fun with it, but I'm not spending like 10 grand on travel.
Summer.
No.
The Untitled. When it gets high school level, and you have to do that to get the exposure to go either college ball or even pro.
Yep. And you contrast that with like soccer. Like he's in academy soccer. His academy dues for the U9 program are $1,300.
Wow.
But that's with like full-time coaches, an almost year-long season, multiple clinics. You know what I mean? Like it's academy. We're paying for a staff of 4 full-time coaches for his team, which are his teams because they split that age group up.
Yeah.
But that compared to travel ball, like the barrier for entry is so much lower. So baseball's having this problem where all of the players in America who are making it are pretty much white.
Yeah.
And the only diversity that you see is from overseas. So like Ronnie or Ozzy, right? Those guys are all coming. You're not seeing the next Hank Aaron. You can't find him anywhere.
He's playing AAU.
Yeah. So it's like baseball's in a really shitty place because it's already collapsing under its own weight and its own whiteness. You know, like the season's too damn long. Nobody cares. It's all white kids. It got kind of interesting last year when they juiced the baseballs. I mean, I'm sorry, when whatever.
No. What are you talking about?
When
That never happened.
whatever happened. But at the same time, like for those of us who, you know, baseball's core audience, and this is why the Braves moved to Cobb, right? Like their core audience is like rednecks and older white people.
And what, has the attendance improved since they've moved up to Cobb?
No.
That's why I didn't think so, because I think there's plenty of black folks down here who like the Braves. It's just that.
Well, now they're farther out.
Yeah, now they're farther out.
They're not driving out to what's that area called?
Cumberland.
Yep.
Yeah.
And dealing with the East-West connector trying to get into that ballpark is just insane. I leaving that game and the ride sharing line is like a mile long.
I will give them props. Getting out of their parking situation, even when I wait through like the end of the game, is way better than when I was parking down at Turner Field.
Turner Field was if you didn't walk from MARTA, you're and the game ends at like 10, you're getting home at 1.
Yeah.
Not me.
Especially if you're in one of those like grass lots, you know what I mean?
Oh God.
So Carlos, who, you know, was like, yeah, I'll be in your podcast, and didn't. Add that to the list of things Carlos told me he would do, but he isn't. He lives across the street from SunTrust. He said nights that they have games, he leaves work early just because he can't. But he's like, he's coming from CDC. He's like, I'm not messing with that. Getting back on track. So like baseball is really like Rob Manfred is like, this is I think what Trevor Bauer meant when he said the future of the game. It's already hard enough for people to care about baseball unless they're white. And the only other like super white sport is golf. And golf is fine, but is golf the national pastime?
No.
And what made
it's again too expensive?
What made golf super popular at the height of its powers? Who made golf?
Definitely Phil Mickelson. Definitely.
Phil, yeah, you're right, lefty.
I think it was Vijay Singh.
It was Phil, or it was Tiger, man. Like, and as soon as Tiger like started being bad, everybody's like, I don't care about golf. I've never cared about golf, but I was like, yeah, Tiger Woods. And then he was like crazy, and then he went to Donald Trump's house. I was like, never mind. Tiger pulled a Kanye. Yeah, Ryan, he went to the White House, and he's like, I love Donald.
No, I just had a random window in my browser just start talking to me out of nowhere.
For shizzle. That's part of the that's 2 Chappelle quotes. Yeah. So do you think that baseball, like, okay, let me refrain. And I know I've been talking a lot, but this is a question that I'm grappling with, and I want to ask you guys. As a ethical and moral consumer of entertainment, right? Like I make choices about the things that I watch and consume based on things bigger than if it's popular, right? So like I had a hard time watching Fox shows when Rupert Murdoch owned 20th Century Fox. Right now that Disney owns Fox, fine, you know, like whatever. They're going to own everything anyway, so who cares? But you know, it's stuff like that. Like I try to vote with my wallet as often as I can. And this whole baseball season, like these folks who are in debt and own these baseball teams, and they're saying, you know, I can't pay my players more than 50 games, which, as Trevor said, it can't be a representative season, right? Like you're going to miss the playoffs with that. These same billionaires are the ones who, when we ask for, you know, universal basic income or, you know, social welfare, they'll say we got to buy less avocado toast, millennial.
You buy too much Starbucks.
Right. You know, if you weren't getting your coffee out. So, you know, can the sport recover in its current form, or is this the beginning of, you know, the death throes for professional baseball? Ryan's nodding.
I think it can recover. It's too global of a sport for it to fail, and it's too ingrained. It's never going to be what it was back in the McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, home run chases days. or even the 90s when the Yankees and were tormenting the whole league, but it's never going to fade away. I think it could exist in its current form forever as the third biggest sport in America.
Micah.
I think enough white Americans love baseball that they'll keep it going. But like with a lot of the changes that sports like NASCAR and stuff are making, it's going to be some other sports that start to nip at its heels and potentially pass. Because I mean, I think I sent y'all that tweet earlier where it said, who would have thought that NASCAR would be the sport that handled all of these racial issues the best out of all of the sports. So, I think now that NASCAR has basically said, we're not with it. We're not with racism. We're not, we want to be more inclusive. We want more people, more diversity in our fan base and our sport in general. I think baseball could start to slip down to fourth, maybe even fifth most popular sport in this country.
That is, of course, assuming that NASCAR counts as a sport, which I'm not convinced that people who drive around in a car are athletes. But they have
endurance, but they're certainly not.
Well, those suits are hot. They sweat a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a friend who I used to work with who said that golf, baseball, and race car driving were not sports. They were individual activities, individual athletic activities. I disagreed with her because I said, well, you've never seen a triple play?
Yeah, you need baseball. You can't do by yourself. I mean.
No, but I don't think she'd ever watched baseball. She's a soccer girl, but she's like a Barcelona fan. So like she also doesn't know what to lose. If you're listening, Shauna, this episode is dedicated to you and your terrible sports picks. I used to give her a ton of shit about. I was like, "Oh, you like Barcelona? Oh, that's like people in the 90s liking the Yankees, even though they're from Houston." Speaking of the Yankees in Houston and
wait. I want to give my stance though, just very quickly. No, I want to say I'll say like this,
but I'm gonna do beard ASMR while you're talking.
That's fine. Baseball will never die, but I want to say that they took a clear stance against the fan here. They don't care about the fan to that level to where they will do things that can develop the game. And I'll say the second point is that for the youth, it's just not fun anymore because you got kids who are out here pitching every single day, all of their lives. And then, but back in the day, it'd be like, every position, you'd be able to athletically contribute to every part of the sport. So it's fun. But when you're out here getting Tommy John surgery before you're 18, then it's just not I think it has a lot of ground to make up. But no, it'll never die.
It's because they're letting kids throw sliders and curveballs when they're in middle school, and they shouldn't be.
That's why I messed up my shoulder.
It's it's ridiculous to me that Major League Baseball is watching their decline and seeing their attendance numbers and their recruiting numbers and their diversity and stuff like that go the way that it is, and they're doubling down instead of making any changes, right? Like soccer is coming for them, right? MLS, if MLS was like a little bit better, it would already be the number 2 sport in this country, right?
I agree.
You've got baked-in audience with all of our immigrant and international communities, and then you also have a ton of people who grew up playing it because it was cheaper than baseball and football, right? So like, it's look at what it does in Atlanta. Atlanta United outsells the Falcons most days that they play, and now you're introducing a team in Miami. Like
that's going to be awesome.
That's like the perfect place. Now,
tailor-made market.
I personally hope that they really bungle that team because they're in our conference, and I want them to be bad. But look at also like the Red Bulls, right, up in New York. They're another one that or Portland. It's if Major League Soccer even had like a decent, a more than decent on the field product as a whole, right? Not talking about the teams that play at a high level, like our own Five Stripes or LAFC, but like if Kansas City or Cincinnati was like a decent team, baseball would be cooked, you know? So I think it's ridiculous. So moving on to another way in which Rob Manfred is destroying the game of baseball. I don't know if you saw this recently, but apparently there was a letter sent by the commissioner to the league telling the league to not talk about how the Yankees were stealing signs in 2017.
Yep.
Ryan, give us the recap on this because I'm not super fresh with the deets.
So I got it up here and I haven't really read too much into it, but so I'll read the intro to it. It says, on Monday, the Yankees and Major League Baseball appealed last Friday's ruling, ordering a letter sent by the MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred to Yankees GM Brian Cashman to be unsealed. The Yankees argued the release of the letter would, quote, significantly or cause significant reputational injury, according to the U.S. District Court judge. You don't really have to read much further than that, considering the franchise that received the letter is saying, hey, look, it's really going to tarnish our reputation amongst the league and the community. You done something wrong, Yankees, and you just don't want people to find out about it. And the fact that Rob Manfred is behind it and saying and backing that as well, there's something shiesty going on.
You know, I was thinking about this a little bit. You know what? One way that you could prevent irreparable harm to the game and to your brand and stuff like that would be to not fucking cheat.
Oh, hey, even better. The Red Sox were the one that asked for the investigation.
I know, right? Cheaters, proven cheaters.
Got him.
Man, the American League East is petty as fuck, though. Like, I love that. Like, there's like, it's like the Jets and the Patriots. There's no limit to the depths of their pettiness.
Right, that's like Kobe and Shaq when Kobe was like, well, Shaq cheated too.
Yeah, man. So here we go. The controversy stems from a lawsuit filed by online baseball gamblers from DraftKings that says the 3-year-old private letter includes information that would implicate the Yankees on a far greater scandal. The unsubstantiated claims is tied to an appeal filed by the gamblers whose lawsuit that they allege the more recent Astros and Red Sox sign stealing scandals created an unfair wagering platform. The appeal was tossed in April, blah, blah, blah. In 2017, the Yankees and Red Sox were both fined, yada, yada, yada. Manfred wrote in a press release that the Yankees had, quote, violated a rule governing the use of the dugout phone, but that the, quote, substance of the communications over the phone was not in violation. So let's see how much the MLB cares about the Yankees. How far they'll go.
This is like the only good thing that has ever come out of DraftKings.
Yeah, I made some good money off of them.
Gambling, you degenerate. Anyway.
Hey, I'm a gambling star over here.
Yeah, let me mute myself before I say something I take back.
I make big bucks.
Big bucks.
You also lost big bucks with Brady going to Tampa.
True that. Net losses.
You guys see that picture of him?
Yep. Yeah, he looked it.
Yeah, it was like, somebody find my man some sunscreen. Damn. Well, he's going to Donald Trump's tanning booth. Got thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts.
You look dumpy and everything.
Man. All right. So on the other, what was our other piece of baseball news? I should have been more prepared, but it's been a hell of a day. So I'm sorry, guys.
You got Hackenberg and you
Hackenberg,
got the New Deal.
Oh, right. Let's do Hackenberg last. So the new Turner deal, I think, is yet another way that Major League Baseball is killing itself, right? So, like, what's the dominant sport in the United States of America?
Football.
The NFL, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Followed closely by NCAA football.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to watch NFL games, you have a Thursday game. let's say you can only watch one game at a time legitimately, right?
Mhm.
You have one Thursday game, an early afternoon Sunday game, a mid-afternoon Sunday game, a Sunday night game, right? And a Monday night game. That's 5 games per week. How many of those are broadcast on national television?
Every single
All
one.
of them.
What's up Thursday?
Well, Thursday's been picked up by CBS and Fox recently, and then it's streaming on Amazon.
That's this season?
Yeah, the only one that's on pay cable is Monday Night Football, and that's on ESPN, right? So people like me, I don't know about y'all, but people like me, I don't want to pay a cable bill because fuck Comcast. So I stream my stuff, right? Now, Turner signed this huge deal with Major League Baseball where they'll cover, it's all the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a continuation, yeah.
Yeah, it's a continuation of their deal, and it was like $210 billion or something like that.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
213.
Turner networks are not available on all streaming platforms. You know what's available on pretty much all streaming platforms? Fox, CBS, NBC, and ABC, and ESPN, right? Like, easy. If you want to watch, CBS is going to be carrying the NWSL tournament in a couple weeks, right? All of the games are going to be on CBS All Access. You know how much CBS All Access costs with ads? It's like $6. If you want to go ad-free, it's 10. Which, you know me, if there is a more expensive version of something, I'm probably.
I'll take 2, please.
Yeah. Oh, you think it's slightly better for twice as much? I'm terrible. What the fuck are they thinking? Turner? You know, like, gone are the days where you could get TBS, the Superstation, on your TV. What the fuck is? And it should be assigned to you that the major legacy sports networks in this country did not outbid Turner for the rights to Major League Baseball because they were like $200 billion. That's too much. And Turner doesn't have anything except March Madness.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's true. And they're not even like, they're like half of it. There's like a quarter of the carrier.
Right. But still, it's like, so like Amazon is looking to get into live sports, right? They didn't outbid. You know?
Amazon would be great for that.
Right, but that's the problem is Amazon would rather take one football game a week than the MLB playoffs. You don't think Amazon could outbid Turner? Everybody's got a Prime account. Don't fucking. You know how many people have a Prime account?
That's
I feel
true.
like Turner's in this all for themselves, though. They're thinking that this is gonna reinvigorate some, right wing loyalty, and like you said, the Superstation.
Ted is gone.
Memories.
He's gone.
He's gone, man. Cartoon Network is a shell of what it used to be.
But it's the tradition, I think. Right. They traditionally used to be that station that hosted the games.
Right.
So it's like, we got to live in the old fashioned.
This is indicative of the problem with baseball, though, right? Like, okay, Marco, let's say you were a musician, okay, like a house musician, right? Like Max Weinberg on the Conan O'Brien show, okay? You know, like you like lead a house band, right. And it used to be that every couple of years you'd get a contract, like a bidding war between the Tonight Show, the Late Show, everybody's trying to get your services or whatever.
Who wants me?
Yeah, and then you got stuck on like Arsenio Hall's new show, right? Like the third reboot of Arsenio. Right? Which,
used to be a good show.
I love Arsenio Hall. That's mad respect. But he paid you a ton of money, which everyone was like, oh, dang, Arsenio's out here spending the money. But then after that contract ran out, and you only play the same like 10 songs, right? After that contract ran out, nobody else wanted to pay you that money, but also nobody else wanted to be on the Arsenio Hall show.
Yeah.
So you guys just kept
money over longevity
instead of like playing playing 5 new songs, right?
Yeah.
Like Major League Baseball is like, well, Turner wants to give us $210 billion. Turner doesn't care. They don't have any sports. People are like, people are so hard up for sports right now. ESPN was showing, professional tag.
I remember that. I remember tuning in one day going, wait, what's going on right now?
Or like pro cornhole.
Did they have jerseys in the professional tag?
I don't remember, but it was on like a parkour.
Yeah, it's like parkour tag. It was, no, they did not have jerseys on.
Oh, Lord.
It was just one-on-one.
I know I'm on like a soapbox about this, but like I said previously, baseball was my favorite sport. It makes me sad to watch them be this fucking terrible. There is good news though for Major League Baseball, and it is that Christian Hackenberg, who you may know as the Penn State quarterback, second-round pick of the New York Jets, has announced that he will be taking his talents to Major League Baseball.
My guy.
He wants to be a pitcher in Major League Baseball. I think maybe because, we talk at least once a season about how Russell Wilson could have played baseball, right? Like he
could have played baseball.
Yeah, or
Dan Marino.
Elway.
Kyler Murray.
Oh, wait, it was Elway, not Dan Marino.
Yeah. Kyler Murray, definitely, yeah.
But I think Hackenberg is looking at like Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. It's just like, yeah, me too. So
nope.
Ryan sent me Hack's high school career numbers as a pitcher. We're really gonna love this. He threw for 25 2/3 innings with 33 strikeouts, 40 walks, 5 hit by pitch, with an ERA of 7.36.
Oh my God.
High school. Now that would make him the best closer on the Braves roster. Luke Jackson needs to retire. But it does beg the question, of the two former New York Jets quarterbacks that are trying to make it in Major League Baseball, Christian Hackenberg, the Hack, or our Lord and Savior, Timothy Tebow, who'd you rather have on your team? I know I would pick Tim. Ryan?
I'm going to show you who I'm going to pick right here.
Jesus.
Here he comes.
Here he comes, guys. If you're watching the YouTube version, you're going to see this. But if you're listening,
something is coming.
I'm going to describe it to you. Ryan is pensively trying to figure out how to make his computer work the way
how do I do a computer?
He works in IT, and yet he doesn't understand how to make this work. He started sharing his screen.
Nope.
Mark Sanchez. Butt fumbling. You would rather have the Sanchez?
You played baseball?
He did. He played a little bit of baseball, but no, I'd actually take Tebow.
Why?
Because he was actually good at both sports.
Do you think Tebow would have a lower ERA if he was a pitcher?
Tebow as a pitcher is what we're choosing?
No,
just their baseball careers.
I'm asking you as like a tertiary question. Who do you think would have a lower ERA? Tim Tebow in his first season as a pitcher, or Christian Hackenberg?
I'll tell you, it's going to go because he's mainly going to walk people because he's not going to hit the strike zone. He's going to have like an infinite ERA. So I guess that's higher, but
was that a
knock on Tebow's accuracy? Yes, it was.
I bet like he would be going for like a heater straight down the middle, but it would be like down to the right. He'd have like a crazy strikeout and crazy ground out stats.
God willing.
Yeah, and like the catcher's always like number one, straight down the middle. It's like the top right hand corner. It's like
up and in chin music.
It's got like a nasty curve on it. It's like I keep trying to throw a fastball, it's just not working. It's like, Tim, your curveball is disgusting. How did you do it? I didn't throw a curveball. Praise Jesus. Marco, Tim Tebow or Christian Hackenberg on your baseball team?
It has to be Tebow. He has God on his side. He can get people to come to your stadiums. And no matter what, Tim Tebow finds a way. He's determined. He hasn't quit yet. He loves baseball. And I can't argue against that. I don't know what Hackenberg is doing over there. Hack is just, hacking it. And Tebow is the man.
Christian Hackenberg, I feel bad for him because he was overshadowed by the next Penn State quarterback whose name was Trace McSorley. How can you be worse than a guy whose name is Trace McSorley?
Trace sounds like a detective. That sounds like
Trace.
the Ace McSorley.
I just don't. It's if you are like a generational quarterback in college, the guy who follows you with the stupid name is supposed to be worse than you, like Joe Cox, or Hudson Mason with a T, like Jake Fromm, Micah, Timmy, or Christian Hackenberg. I'm just roasting everyone today. I don't know if you can tell I'm in a really terrible mood because I'm just hating on everyone. My coach,
Feels like Tuesday with Lionel.
Right. Let me vamp a little bit.
Look, Tim Tebow, without a question. I think Tim Tebow probably be a better pitcher. Lefty's got that natural movement. So Tim Tebow's going to be just throwing Ks left and right, that natural cutter.
Maybe that's
Christian Hackenberg probably – I know Christian Hackenberg throws harder, but good God, 40 walks to 33 strikeouts? Damn, bro.
at the lowest level.
Right, in high school.
Yeah.
How much money do you think his parents paid for him to have a private baseball tutor for him to have 40 walks and 33 Ks?
$10K a year.
That's another reason why Jackson isn't playing baseball. Because, I don't want to pay that much money to have him be bad. So I think what we're taking out of this baseball segment, if we have to wrap it up, what we've learned today, Rob Manfred is ruining Major League Baseball. Rob, stop it now. Don't make Andrew McCutchen mad. He's a national treasure. Okay. Number 2, the Mets need to give Tebow a look at pitcher, because maybe that's the golden ticket, right? Maybe that's all it's missing is they didn't give him a look. And Hack, man, go play golf. Nobody watches golf. All I have to do to play golf is be white.
I don't know. Maybe take up NASCAR. It's on the uptick.
Yeah. Hackenberg seems like the kind of guy who would drive the Blue Lives Matter car. Sorry, Hack, but I'm also not sorry. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about basically all of the other sports, and we'll have a little bit of news about our NBA bench draft, and a lightning round question that I haven't figured out yet. So let's start the break. Bye. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Fish and Grits podcast, Act 2, and everything else. So let's stop talking about baseball, which depresses me, and instead talk about the most important sport in the country right now, which is professional basketball. I say this because everyone in professional basketball has been united in not only their response to the coronavirus outbreak, but also their response to our social issues that we've been facing right now, at least up until the last couple of days. The NBA was the first to take really drastic steps for isolation against COVID. Adam Silver is incredibly outspoken about racial or social justice issues. I haven't heard a damn word out of any owner anywhere about social justice or anyone protesting. We've talked about this. NBA players are doing things like leading marches in Atlanta, or LeBron, being King James, his Twitter feed is just constant. What was it? He posted a video today, or he retweeted a video today that showed this this young black kid on a home security camera, your driveway camera or something like that.
Oh,
he's shooting hoops out in the front yard, and then you see him hide behind a car, hide behind the car in the driveway, hiding himself from the street. You see a cop car drive by, and then he comes back out and starts dribbling. And it's just, and then that got picked up by 15 other players. It's the NBA is the most important and I think in touch sports league in America right now. But there's trouble in paradise. Also, thank God that the NBA is run by the people who run it and are not run by Roger Goodell and fucking Jerry Jones. I just want to say that. If I had to deal with Jerry Jones in the NBA, I would.
Well, they're there. You just don't have to hear them talk.
Do you remember when Jerry, in 2016, when everybody's kneeling, right? And Cap is about to get blackballed, but like a lot of the players around the league are starting to do it too. Chris Long is doing it, you know, and all that stuff. You remember when Jerry goes on the 50-yard line, arms locked with all of the Cowboys roster, and kneels at the 50-yard line for a second, the whole time doing this at the camera. Better look, I'm Jerry Jones. AT&T Stadium. I love the blacks.
And the whole time he was like, my boys won't get out of line.
Right. They won't get out of line. They know how to behave. Jerry Jones is the kind of guy, you've seen that meme going around Facebook where like the old white guy spray painted Crips on his own driveway or on his own garage, and then he spray painted Black's Rule and like burned half a Confederate flag in his driveway, and he's like, look what these colored folks are doing to my house. How many weeks in a row is that with my Southern voice, Ryan?
That's 7 out of 7.
Jerry Jones, if Jerry Jones wasn't a billionaire owner of the Cowboys, he would be the guy that is like, man, you know what? I want to make sure that we teach these boys a lesson. What should I spray paint on the garage, honey? What's a gang?
More glory hole.
MS-09? Crips. I remember the Crips from back in the day. Wasn't that Tupac?
Hold on. We got to take a time out.
Mark Smalls.
We got to pay attention to what Marco just said as what Jerry Jones would say or what he would spray paint. I don't think you caught it. More glory holes.
Marco, you and your stepbrother can go down there.
Yeah, that's what Jerry Jones is going to put. There's a need for more glory holes in this town.
Y'all, I hate Jerry Jones. Moving on. All right, so we talked about this before. The NBA is about to have, an end of the season tournament, which sucks because the Hawks won't play in it, but at least Zion is playing in it. I got our lightning round question just now. It's gonna be good. But there's a problem. So LeBron has stated publicly that he wants to play. He wants to play in this tournament. I think part of it is because he understands that there's a really good chance he gets a chip right now, right? Like with everybody being as healthy as they are and without the Warriors, there's a really, really good chance that LeBron's going to go all the way. But his old foil, his arch nemesis, the Joker to his Batman, Kyrie Irving, the man who doesn't believe in the curvature of the earth himself. God, Kyrie. He held a Zoom call with about 100 other players. And what they discussed was that they're not sure how many of these guys are going to play because they feel like it would distract from the social movement. They're worried that one of the reasons that we've had so much focus on this social movement that we have is because we don't have anything else to distract us, right? Like we're out of sports. Nobody's watching the Bundesliga. Nobody wants to. They're German. Nobody cares. Almost no one watches NASCAR, right? There's nothing to distract us. And Kyrie's point was that if the NBA comes back, the NBA will be that thing that the news pivots to instead of like cops shooting people or lynchings in California. Now, Dwight Howard has also said that he doesn't know if he wants to play in the current environment. But Patrick Beverley summed it up the best where he tweeted out, he said, if LeBron says we're playing, we're playing. So LeBron's the commissioner. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know whose side I'm going to be on. So whose side are you on?
Well, I'll just I want to say that I think that I would genuinely agree with the side that says not to play, just because if the NBA and say the NFL actually bind it together and say we're not playing until we get X or we get this or we do, that would cause so much movement in this whole thing. But I say all that knowing that these guys are all paid assets. They're not going to do that. Just like Kyrie saying, oh, he would give up everything for the social movement. Then do it, bro. Like, who's stopping you? Like, who's stopping you from doing that? Like, I feel like Kyrie is one of these guys. He talks a lot. You know, he has good conversations with people, and then he might come out before he has anything, any real like thought into it. He'll just say it out to people just to be that provocateur. But I don't think he's genuine about it. And I do think that, honestly, if they're playing and they constantly, almost annoyingly, continue to, to keep this on people's minds, it could be a part of it. But I do understand both sides. Like, I understand the whole aspect of
Do you think Kyrie would have a different take if he was on a contending team?
Yeah, he has no skin in the game. So, as I said, he's just an agent of chaos out here. He's just putting his own little opinion in there because he knows that he doesn't really have anything to lose.
He's not going to win anyway, so why not? Ryan, whose side are you on, man?
I'm split down the middle too. I think I'm leaning more towards LeBron though, because the NBA has always done a good job of allowing their players to voice their opinions, and what better way than to get out on a nationally televised platform in a sport that'll be the first back. And, well, other than soccer, but get out there and really, I'm sure Silver would let them have a piece and for the announcers to talk about it and to actually make money that they can donate to the Black Lives Matter Foundation and all those type of things. I think we've done a good job of being vocal at this point, but what a lot of these movements need right now is a financial backing. And I would not be shocked to see the NBA to dedicate a large percent of their revenue to the Black Lives Matter movement or whichever movement they so choose. But I think that would be an important piece to this, is bringing in money now to then put it towards a good cause.
Micah?
I don't often agree with Kyrie Irving, but I think I kind of lean more to his side on this one because I understand, and I understand both sides. Austin Rivers said he feels like they can keep the movement going while still playing, and he also, and I understand that a lot of the players don't have the endorsement deals or the money that Kyrie has, but I do feel like that there are a lot of people who will ignore or just endure the other stuff, whether they do a T-shirt or something in solidarity, just for the interest of watching sports, because we haven't had any in a while. And the Fox News watchers and stuff, I don't think they would, and I mean, to be honest with you, or hell, those people probably won't watch it all. So,
they don't watch basketball anywhere. There's too many Negroes.
Well, some of them do, but at the end of the day, I get where he's coming from, and basketball could easily kind of just give somebody something else to think about instead of, I don't want to think about protesting and all that stuff. I just want to watch sports. So
I have a question. I have a question for you, Micah.
Yeah.
Because I'm struggling with the same thing, right? Like I desperately want sports to be back on TV. But I've been okay without sports. Like, we're going to run out of stuff to talk about on this podcast. Well, you guys will run out of stuff to talk about. I'm always going to have something to say. But I've been okay without sports, but I would love for the NBA to come back. But more than that, I want people to stop getting murdered by police.
Oh yeah.
And I think that Kyrie, God, I hate that I'm about to say this. I think Kyrie's got a point. I think that any distraction right now, like, we have no distractions right now. There's nothing going on. Like, Netflix hasn't put out a new show in, however long, right? Like, Tiger King was, once Tiger King was over, everybody started paying attention to police brutality. But what if the NBA, not the players, because the players are going to do what the players are going to do, but what if the NBA took a stand? So like Nickelodeon, which is this is an interesting transition, but Nickelodeon played The Sound of Breathing for 8 minutes and 46 seconds the other day with a message that tells people that kids, that Black Lives matter and that they matter. And, you know, a whole statement about George Floyd. Nickelodeon also said that SpongeBob is gay, which
Really?
I was like, yeah, like the other day.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I never figured he was gay.
Oh, there's been this is where it's like, I like Squidward. But like that's sort of like Nickelodeon is just sort of like, you know, and like or like Elmo did a special on CNN about racism the other day, and people are so
It's really good.
People are so fucking mad about it. And it's like, but you know, eat a dick, because like now these kids that watched that, you know what I mean? Like we're not going to be able to reach the old white people who watch Fox News, but we might be able to reach, you know, the 13 to 25-year-olds who are, you know, on Reddit and 4chan. Like what if the NBA dedicated the season to people who've been killed by police brutality, and then like they said their names? You know, what if the NBA actually, to Marco's point, like what if they actually took it? Now, you know, the NFL is not going to do it because Jerry won't let them, but fuck Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft. I think Arthur would, but like, what if the NBA like went out and was like what if that was how they appeased? Now, no one's going to miss fucking Dwight Howard during the tournament, but like, what if they did that? Would that change your opinion? If they, on these like nationally broadcast ESPN carried tournament games, if they were just like, stop killing black people?
I think that it's like I always held the opinion that like during the whole Kaepernick, the initial protest that Kaepernick was doing, I always felt like they should have, in addition to that, like every time they had a press conference, they should have used that opportunity to get out there and be like, okay, today this person died of police, blah, 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 and use that stage anyway. So I think, like to what you said about Nickelodeon, I think you got to sort of use your platform the best you can, because we know that NBA players aren't activists. We know that they're not that, you know, so, you know, is it more valuable for them to be out here all apart trying to figure out ways to contribute and just, you know, mourn and all this? Or is it better to use the platform you have to convey a message? You know, when you're all together and you're all on one accord, like you said, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to that, not to just, you know, we keep talking about this every week, it seems like, but a part of that goes back to a post that I saw on a bunch of people's Instagrams the other day, but I think Nicole's was the one that I remember, where it's just like, if you can march, you know, like find a way to make an impact. My way of making an impact, and we talked about this since I can't go down and protest, is I've got a lot of white people that I'm Facebook friends with, and I'm either going to piss them off so much that they never talk to me again, or I'm going to change their minds. You know, I've seen that happening. You know what I mean? Like I have the gift of sarcasm and condescension. So, you know, I also don't care if I post 25 Twitter screen caps a day yelling about racism. I don't give a fuck. So I think you're right about that, about using that platform. And I think if the NBA, not just the players, I think if the league takes that stand, it will say something to me and to the country. And I think the Premier League is a good example of that, to switch sports a little bit, but they are going to put Black Lives Matter, I believe, on their warm-up jerseys for the rest of the season.
Nice.
And it might be on their jerseys as well, which is like a huge step for British people, right? Because whatever you might think about us, like there's just as many British Jerry Joneses as you think there are, you know, but they're just like, God, swallow.
They sound a nice little accent.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So the other concern about the NBA tournament is they're talking about, like, you know, the reason that they got the players to agree to come back is they told them they're going to be in like a bubble. And I was winking and doing air quotes, podcast people, in Disney World. Orlando.
Perfect place to be in a bubble.
Right. Turns out, because they were going to isolate the players for 2 weeks before they started playing, and all family that's going to be with them, and they're going to have very limited staff exposure and stuff like that. But the employees that work at Disney World are not going to be quarantined. So the coaches, the trainers, the players, the family, those folks will all be quarantined at Disney World. Oh, shucks. But the people who cook their food and wash their laundry and go shopping for them at Old Navy, Dwayne Wade, all those folks are just going to be going home and living in Central Florida, which if I could think of a place that I would not want people who cook my food to live, Central Florida is towards the top of the list. So
only bested by Cleveland.
Cleveland rocks. Drew Carey, another Marine, and
Really?
maybe racist. I don't know. Everybody's racist.
This is America.
Right. Hell yeah. Was it Joey Badass who's like there are 3 Ks and 2 A's in America? It was Joey Badass.
How does that work?
It's America KKK. You haven't seen that before?
No. Is that a meme or is that a song?
It's a song. And an album.
Joey.
Well, Marco, it's not the Beatles, so you don't know. I love the Beatles, though. No cap.
McCartney wrote a song called Blackbird. That was about the civil rights.
So these guys are worried. We're moving on. So these guys are worried about like the bubble being popped, which I think takes us to our next topic as well. I think that we can tie them in. So, Texas is dealing with some pretty significant COVID spikes right now. My dog is back. So Texas,
Tucker, my guy,
some pretty significant COVID spikes. As a result, several of the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys have been tested. And Ezekiel Elliott, who you might remember as the most important person on the Dallas Cowboys roster, tested positive for COVID-19. Is it even worth playing sports right now? Is it worth it? Did y'all see that picture of that on that New York Times article of that lung person who had coronavirus? And it's like, it's like so some people who get it have like the sniffles, right? And some people who get it have got like the flu, but some people who get it have strokes and blood clots and their lungs are permanently damaged and they never have full lung capacity again. If you are Ezekiel Elliott and your entire career is based on the fact that you can breathe well enough to run fast and hit other people, are you gonna fucking play football?
And I think an important fact to tag on to what you were saying is that what they're finding is it affects black males differently, and that blood clots in the legs, pain in the legs, numbness in the legs, and strokes are more prevalent amongst black males, whereas the white community is being affected more with the flu and cold symptoms. So
add that to your conspiracy theory list, Marco.
Huh?
Add that to your list of why it was made in a lab.
My man, what's my man's name? The head scientist who funded that clinic?
Bill Gates.
Fauci.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. Spotify bias. So Ryan, would you play?
What are we talking about? Late September?
Or the NBA? Any sport right now. Look at the state of this country's response to coronavirus and tell me.
How our curve went like this and now it's doing this again?
Yeah. Would you play contact sports in this country?
How old am I? Am I an athlete?
How old is Zeke?
He's like 24, probably 23.
Let's say 26. Let's put you average age of an NFL player and also NBA player who is coming into their prime.
I mean, if I'm that age, I'm not going to lie. I probably would be arrogant and do it. As a 34-year-old.
How old are you now?
Yeah, 34. No, I wouldn't.
What's my age again? Marco, would you play?
Yeah, I would play because I think that, it's going to take a long time for them to come out with the vaccine. And I think they make their livelihoods off this, so their whole lives depends on them playing. So to say that they might lose their lives, I mean, yeah, it's a give and take. They're also young and healthy. Me personally, I'm biased just because, I almost feel like I'm resistant out here to everything, even though I'm not saying it's not like I've been out here, but the first couple of weeks I was definitely out before they took my rims away.
I've been out here licking poles.
I was definitely out there licking people's elbows.
Marco's going to be on a damn PSA. Like,
No. But I was definitely out there
podcasting with intubated with a respirator, like typing it out with the what's his name? Stephen Hawking voice. Please don't go out licking elbows. Go Hawks.
No, but really, before they took my rims away, I was definitely out there playing, and I mean, I was a little shook a bit, but I just think that personal hygiene is important. With the helmets, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of protection. Yeah, if you're sick and showing symptoms, get the fuck out of there. It's a bad look. Obviously, it's a bad look.
I'm glad these 3 metal bars are here to stop COVID from coming into my lungs.
People are gonna get
Chris
sick.
Tuck was the only one that had a protective helmet, because he had
Shredder like all things will pass, but football has to come back. Sports will come back eventually.
Micah, would you play?
Personally, no. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of the bigger, like the linemen, probably would be less inclined to, considering it does affect, bigger people bad.
And they smother each other all over each other all game.
And their faces are like this all game.
Not to mention the weight. They might have more health issues because they're bigger.
Hey, no, call them fat. Don't fat shame offensive linemen, Micah. That's rude, man.
Hey, I'm an offensive lineman and I'm bigger than most of them. So I don't fat shame them. They're still smaller than me.
And stronger too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're ripping doors off handles, but I mean, at 20, 25, 26, I probably would, because young, when you're that young, you feel invincible. But I like I said, I think I might have a little I might have a little fear, or like, all right, what's the goal? I might question what's the goal, how are we going to stay safe, yeah, but I probably would, honestly.
Ask me.
Hey, Lionel, would you play?
Hell no. Are you kidding me? No.
What if you're a rookie?
Get a different job. Live at home with your mom.
But you could get COVID at any job.
Yeah, but Le'Veon Bell sat out for no reason. People sit out like, come on, dude. If you're Ezekiel Elliott and you're like, or shit, let's just pick somebody who's not Ezekiel Elliott. If I'm Julio Jones, right, and I got to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 times during the year, right, which means I got to have a defensive back from Florida rubbing his body all over me, trying to prevent me from running a go route, right? And, like, if I get coronavirus, people watching the YouTube version of this, please ignore my crazy dog in the back. If I get coronavirus and I get, like, blood clots in my legs and I can't ever play wide receiver again, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is that worth it? Or if I just sit out a year and I'm just like, I don't want to get sick. And the NFL's like, we're going to fine you. And then you, like, go to court with them like Tom Brady did about cheating with the deflated footballs. And then, eventually it goes away because, those lawsuits just go on forever. That's whatever. But I mean, like, shit, dude. Like, how the fuck are you gonna play? We're gonna start playing the football season, and then a huge chunk of players are about to come back positive with coronavirus, and they're gonna shut the season down. And just like in the Premier League, when they were like, they weren't gonna shut it down, and then the head coach for Arsenal came up positive with COVID. And that day they had to shut the whole league down. And then they had to test everybody. And everybody had to quarantine. It's since sports is all about money, right? All about Jerry Jones getting his dollar. They're going to make a really stupid decision. They're going to Donald Trump it.
Well, I think the NBA will be a great test case because I've even heard stuff about that. Even if you don't have symptoms, like maybe a month from now, you might, still have complications when you try to do athletic stuff. So when we see some of these dudes like Donovan Mitchell out here trying to play, or Rudy Go, gone. Then we'll really see, if they can, hold up.
Just replace it with a Madden season.
I think Rudy Gobert went to Zeke's house
and rubbed all over all of his stuff that same day.
Ate that same bowl of cereal.
Rubbed his pillows.
Chunky suit. The other thing is, if you're Ezekiel Elliott, like, you're not worried about that paycheck. Go get speaking engagement. Cameo. The company Cameo. You can pay $15,000 to have a 10-minute Zoom call with a famous person. Just go do Zoom calls for the season. Like, who cares?
Yeah. I think it's stupid.
Worried about finding where he's going to pay how he's going to get his next meal. Come on, man.
Like, Ryan was on the cusp of saying something.
Yeah, I was going to ask who y'all thought quarantined in more style. Was it Jerry Jones or was it Cristiano Ronaldo?
CR7.
Ronaldo did it, but it must have been him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what CR7 did?
Mm-mm.
He bought an island.
Yeah.
And moved his family there. An entire island.
That's boss. What did the other
Jones just went on his enormous yacht the size of an island.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I prefer an island over a yacht.
Didn't Zeke get in trouble for not socially distancing at the beginning of quarantine time? Like,
he
had some retarded party.
Yeah, party at Dak's house.
Let me just do. Let me Trevor Bauer it.
I was not surprised at all when Zeke came back.
Zeke of all players is like, yeah.
Maybe we need Zeke to go hang out with Jerry Jones real quick though.
All right. Oh God, that was delicious.
Assassin.
He's the worst. All right, let's go through some NFL junk really quick. There's a lot on our rundown, so I'm going to pick and choose. Roger Goodell recently said that he encourages teams to sign Colin Kaepernick. How far up his ass can he shove that?
I'd say about 7 to 8 inches.
Okay.
His body language said a lot to me, though, because if you watch his eyes, he didn't want to look at the camera, and that typically signifies shame. So I think, looking down and talking, not like avoiding contact that way, but looking down the whole time he's speaking and saying things like that.
You think the Ginger Hammer can't afford a speech therapist or like a speech prep that's like, here's how you look like you care?
Yeah, it didn't look rehearsed to me. It's far too late. It's hard to buy when people come out and really dig their and say, look, this is how I feel about this. And 4 years later, and I go, oh, oops. But I will say his body language, me read as if he got it, and he feels bad about not getting it sooner.
I wonder if he mostly just feels bad about the fact that the NFL could have been leading on this, and instead, everyone's like, remember that time Colin Kaepernick tried to tell us that Black Lives Matter, and you got him fired? Like, Goodell's the bad guy here. Like, I wonder how much of him feeling bad is like, oh, I had a chance to be great and I fucked it up.
I think it's tied into that. I think there's a lot of pride involved in the fact that because I even felt, when like Pat Mahomes and all the other quarterbacks threatened, they sort of threatened them, and he made a statement and he didn't mention Kaepernick then. I just think that there's a contentious relationship between Kaepernick and the NFL that goes beyond a lot of this stuff. And I think that he is begrudging him, to say his name, but I'm glad that he finally did,
Fuck Roger Goodell. All right. So speaking of things that don't involve Roger Goodell, we've got some Hall of Fame nominees for this coming year. Included on the list are Ray Lewis, Champ Bailey, Bob Stoops, Ken Dorsey, and Carson Palmer. Ken Dorsey should not go to the NFL. Ray Lewis is a murderer, probably, allegedly. Allegedly. We're not gonna get sued. But he's a Hall of Famer. I think Champ Bailey is without a doubt.
He's a lock on both levels.
Oh man, that man is Bob Stoops, whatever, who cares? What about Carson Palmer? Micah, you like to have opinions on quarterbacks. Is Carson Palmer a Hall of Famer?
Even though he didn't win anything that I remember in USC. Or did he? Did he win the championship at USC?
No. Yeah, I think he was the quarterback for that, wasn't he?
He wasn't a Bush era.
He was pre
Bush. Or did he have 1 year of Bush?
I think he might have won in like 2001 when I think they played Oklahoma or something like that.
Furious typing noises are indicative of our crack team of sports analysts Googling, did Carson Palmer win an SEC? Going to the Carson Palmer Wikipedia page.
No, I don't think he won one.
Scrolling as fast as they can.
He won a Heisman, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it.
Like most USC quarterbacks win Heisman's, though.
He had a very good college career. Now, I mean, I thought he was a better quarterback coming out than his Matt Leinart. He was a better just quarterback in general. He had a better arm, everything. But Leinart had more success. I'm kind of leaning no, mainly because, I mean, he did win a Heisman, but, I mean, the fact that we had to question whether or not he actually won a championship versus, like, Leinart, we know what they did those, 2-3 years that he was quarterbacking. I mean, so I have to lean a no on him, on Carson Palmer.
Just to clarify, I didn't say it, but we're talking about College Football Hall of Fame for those of you listening and trying to figure out why it matters that he won a Heisman. College Football Hall of Fame. So his stats are 50 starts with 59% completion percentage, 11,818 yards, 72 TDs, and 49 picks.
That's college stats?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's going against me wanting to include Carson Palmer, and it's not his fault, but there are so many fucking college football players, right? And like so many of them look so good in comparison to their own teams, you know, that it's hard to pick the good ones. You know, it's hard to, you have a generational talent at some position every year in the NCAA, right? Like Joe Burrow last year, but before that it was Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, you know, at quarterback. Before that it was Baker Mayfield. Before that it was Marcus Mariota, you know. Talking about like generational, like the quarterbacks everybody's talking. Running backs is another one where you have, you know, they all come out of Georgia. So, you know, Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley, DeAndre Swift, all those guys.
Zeus was supposed to be one.
Yeah, well.
Here's a quarterback, since we now know that Palmer did not win a national championship. I'm going to give you the stats for this quarterback. He played 36 games, a career completion percentage of 70%.
Damn.
He threw for 14,000 yards, 131 touchdowns, and 42 interceptions.
This college stats?
These are college.
Ryan?
I think I know who this is.
You probably do.
Marcus Mariota.
No.
Let's
Take a stab at it,
just
Michael.
say, is he an offensive coordinator right now?
You're close. Same type of quarterback. But But those would stand out as better numbers, right?
Yeah.
So that was Colt Brennan from Hawaii.
Yummy.
And Michael, you're on the right trail. Those are Hall of Fame numbers to me. Like if Carson Palmer deserves to be in the College Football Hall of Fame, Colt Brennan most certainly does.
Well, Colt Brennan never won a Heisman.
So
Carson
He got to win a Heisman.
he made a school like Hawaii relevant for
Carson Palmer won a Heisman because he went to USC.
Yep.
True.
That's
and
it.
Ken Dorsey's on that list because he played with NFL players.
Ken Dorsey got carried to a national championship.
Ken Dorsey wasn't good, but they put him on the list. So I think Carson Palmer's only getting a nod because of that Heisman and, having a fairly decent to good NFL career. He was in a Super Bowl, wasn't he?
Did Dorsey go
No, he wasn't in a Super Bowl.
No, he wasn't. Did Dorsey go to Miami?
Yes.
Okay, so I think the biggest knock against Carson Palmer is that he doesn't have a chip. And in college football, it's a different quarterback every year that wins a chip, right? Like Joe Burrow played for LSU for a year and has a chip. If you're that good.
Joe Burrow's a Hall of Famer.
Definitely.
Well,
yeah.
If you're that good.
Yeah, what had the single greatest season for a college quarterback.
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
College offensive player ever.
Yeah.
Man had 60 some odd touchdowns.
Well, yeah, but
Why did I say touchdowns like that? Oh, my Canadian touchdowns.
Touchdowns, eh?
That's a Mel Kiper.
Touchdowns.
Touchdown.
Poor Carson. I know that Ryan has a soft spot for Carson Palmer.
Ginger Power.
Yeah, but
I always liked Carson Palmer.
Didn't he play for the Raiders for a minute?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bengals to the Raiders to
Quit
the
football.
Cardinals.
No, he quit football, then went to the Raiders, right? Or how did that work?
I forget what his year off was.
No, he went to the Raiders he went to the Raiders before he went to the Cards, right?
Yeah.
He played for Del Rio in
I think he quit football so the Bengals would let him out of his contract. And then he went and signed with the Raiders.
If I had to play for Marvin Lewis, I would also. They drafted Burrow, right?
Yeah.
Burrow should be terrified.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Since he took two tall, white, athletic quarterbacks and turned them into like a punchline and a what could have been, right?
They got Zach, what's it?
Mettenberger?
No, it's Zach Taylor, I think, is the coach.
Oh, yeah. The old Miami offensive coordinator went up there.
Yeah.
He looks lost.
That coaching staff is a bag of shit. They need a
franchise
coach.
He's an analytic guy though. He's pro football focused, left pro football focused to go up there to coach.
Great.
To coach the Bengals.
So Jim Tressman was, an offensive guru in the CFL, came down to the NFL and just was the worst. I think John Fox would be a better pick at head coach for Cincinnati. And I hate
Where is John Fox?
Out of
NFL Network or
he's
a talking head somewhere.
The league. I think the league kind of got away from those old school defensive minded coaches though. They want the young offensive gurus now.
Who's Sean McVay's current offensive coordinator? And why is he not the Cincinnati Bengals head coach?
I
think he is the Ram.
He calls the plays, but I don't know who has the title of offensive coordinator.
LaFleur was the offensive.
Kevin O'Connell. Oh, Kevin O'Connell.
Former Jets quarterback.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell should be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Backup quarterback is such a comfy job. You could just scoot in anywhere. It's like Ken Dorsey had a job for a long time as just a auxiliary coach.
Hey, Ryan.
Dan Orlovsky.
You remember the guy? You remember the guy used to tell us about Drew Stanton, the guy from the Grove, said he would hang. He used to hold the cords for Drew Stanton's headphones, and he'd just be like, Drew was like, "Dude, just relax. I'm not moving anywhere." He just stood.
I ain't doing nothing.
So speaking of backup quarterbacks, John Kitna is one of the world's best backup quarterbacks because that man, everywhere he went, he had to play like a full season. and like out of nowhere, and like it was terrible for him. Poor kitten. Dan,
We should do a segment on that. The best backup quarterback ever, or rank them like a top 5.
I like that.
It's magic.
It's got to be what's his name?
Nick Foles.
Foles, Big Dick Nick,
Mm.
McCown.
It depends on where you go. Because for what you got to remember, Steve Young was Joe Montana's backup.
Yeah,
McCown's the nicest backup.
Aaron Rodgers was also Brett Favre's backup.
Yeah,
Matt Moore is another one who comes in and like just plays really well.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. Well, Fitzpatrick, he does really well the first year. Then he gets a contract for the second year, gets the current starter fired, and then they go like 7-9. Like that's how it works. It happens every year.
Blueprint.
It happens every year. So Dan Orlovsky is he's the guy who ran out of the back of the end zone. That one time when he was on the 0-16 Lions and the 2-14 Colts, and he played for both of them. So he's been a part of some of the worst teams in NFL history. So Dan Orlovsky, he did an All Lives Matter thing a little while ago, and his new Twitter battle, his new hill to die on, is that Kyle Shanahan is the greatest coach in the NFL.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So a lot of people have been saying, like he blew 2 Super Bowls, and someone's like, he's better than DQ. And it's like, well, maybe, but he blew two Super Bowls.
Yeah, you don't get as
he's
many.
The best NFL coach for 99.5% of the season.
I would take it. I just would wish that 0.5% would be at the beginning,
or 80% of the biggest game.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple other pieces of news really quick. Kevin Durant bought 5% in the Philadelphia Union, the Major League Soccer franchise in Philadelphia.
KD.
He's also going to be part of their outreach program. The memes following that had included pictures of KD photoshopped into a Union jersey with "My Next Journey" or like "My Next Step," like the Players Tribune article that he wrote when he went to the Warriors. That was right next to him. And then someone else said, "You can tell he joined he bought part of the Union because their logo is a snake."
Oh man,
That was funny.
Ew.
So runner-up today for the loser of the week, Ryan nominated Coach Mike Gundy of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. You might know, podcast listeners, if you're not a college football guy, you might recognize Mike Gundy as the only person in America with a mullet who's on national TV on purpose.
Now, what is it that he did? I've been hearing it, but I didn't catch it.
Okay, so do you know what One American News is?
No.
One American News is like the worst Fox News. Fox News at least pretends to be like a normal news station where they say they're fair and balanced. One American News doesn't even pretend. A good bit of their news staff also works for RT, which is Russia Today, which is the American arm of Russian state-run propaganda news.
Wow.
Right. Tommy Lauren. Tommy, whatever.
Yeah.
She is on One American News. So Mike Gundy was pictured going fishing with his mullet and a One American News t-shirt. And a couple of Oklahoma players were upset about that because they couldn't tell that Mike Gundy was probably racist by the mullet. It had to be the One American News t-shirt. Is Mike Gundy racist, do you think? Just take a guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Micah?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the kind of guy who said that police shootings would stop if these boys would just pull their pants up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad
While he was getting his mullet not cut.
Do you think Sweet Baby Ray, our loser of the week last week, was Mike Gundy's favorite race car driver?
Probably.
With that, just in saying that, do y'all think we're going to see a black flight from some of these schools like Clemson and OK and some of these other SEC schools that are sort of no, I think it's just going to stay the same. Kids are just going to.
I mean, there's some talk, but unless something drastic happens, like the NBA or somebody funds like some of these HBCUs, there's really not much alternative.
Marco, what else happened at Clemson? Because I saw the whole like coach using.
There's the Confederate
So
flag
first,
parade.
Dabo. I think the first thing Dabo did was he's sort of nonpartisan about the whole thing. And then he defended the racist coach. And then obviously they had, lines and lines of cars driving with Confederate flags. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if I were a young black athlete, that'd be enough for me to say, no, I'm not going to Clemson. And they should never.
I mean, the school is built on an old plantation. I mean,
I didn't know
what
that.
do you expect?
I think the major difference here is you gotta think about where some of these kids are coming from, and like, Colin Kaepernick got blackballed. Think about how a kid's gonna get blackballed for backing out of a commitment because, like, not all these kids are Justin Fields. Justin Fields used someone calling him the N-word at a Georgia baseball game to get out of Georgia, but he didn't.
Jake Fromm.
I was about to say the same.
It probably was. It probably was.
They probably covered it up.
Right, but he didn't leave because someone was racist to him. He left because they weren't going to start him over Fromm, who he's better than. Right?
Yep.
So like a lot of these kids, like the kids from Atlanta that go to Georgia, like Kirby looks like he's probably a little bit racist, right?
A little bit.
He's just got that face. And he's old Georgia. He's old South. But like this is your ticket. You know what I mean? This is your free college.
Yeah.
Free,
Yeah.
I say with a wink, because the college athletes are paying for their college with their
3
bond.
hots in a cot.
Wow. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and they probably have to deal with this kind of shit their whole lives. So like, I think until it starts getting actually dangerous, I don't think you're gonna see. I don't think until it gets more explicit. I don't know how much more explicit you can get than Confederate flags on the backs of cars driving.
Yeah, but say what else?
In a union. Like they coordinated this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like listening to Dabo explain his coach using the N-word was stupid in itself. And he was like, well, if he had used it directly at a player, he would have been fired on the spot. But he was telling a player, we don't use that word, and said the actual word. So it's like, so it's okay that he said it by tell them not to say it, but it's just like, all right. So what's the logic behind that?
I have a very. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm like, at least you should have at least punished him for some reason. Like, hey, that's not cool to even say it in that scenario. You can tell him not to say the word, but you don't have to actually say the word. And that's the problem.
So I have a very similar story it's actually from AIT. So we had a sergeant first class. He was our platoon sergeant actually. And one of the soldiers in rank was talking to one of his, I think, yeah, he was black, and he was talking to one of his friends who was also black, and he said, called him, the soft A ending. And Sergeant First Class Cochran, who is a short, blonde, white male, probably in his mid-40s, heard it and proceeded to call him that word over and over and over and saying, hey, we don't use that word in the ranks, right? And then he turned and yelled across the entire company formation to our black first sergeant, hey, first sergeant, blah, 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 and continued to use the word over and over again. And the first sergeant was looking at him like, do you think this is okay to do in front of everyone? I get it. We're all green. We all don't see color and all this stuff. Yeah.
We have dark green and light green Marines. Marines are racist.
So, yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen before and try and apply it in a teaching method, but it's like, that's not how you do it, man. That's not.
Yeah.
Just don't say
this is highly uncomfortable.
Don't say the fucking word.
Yeah.
You don't get to say it.
No. And
You
like,
should also police. You probably shouldn't police young black males about. I mean, unless he was correcting a white kid, then which I don't think is what happened.
Nope.
No.
well, but
I mean,
if you're
like
if you're
if
in,
you're gonna tell them not to say it, you don't actually have to say the word to tell them not to say it.
Sure
And in the fact that Dabo is just like, well, it was the intention of what he was doing. No, that's bullshit.
if that dude just popped off with the hard R, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not the first time that man has said it.
No.
You know, like you don't say it. Like even when I've used it in conversation about like for shock value to demonstrate, you know, like this is what this person said, you know, and stuff like that. Like I've only done it a couple of times, and only in like quoting someone to make a point about how racist this person is, and it made me feel so dirty and like just gross that I just won't, you know, like you.
Bro, the hard R makes me feel uncomfortable. Even
Dude,
saying
it's so rough. And like, it was so hard watching Chappelle's Show in high school because like we all wanted to use the, you know, the soft ending, you know, as we're quoting it. But like at the same time, I was like, am I racist?
The
Can I
nigger
say
family.
this?
Sorry.
No man, no normal, well acclimated, socially conscious white man should be able to drop that hard R without like immediately having to go take a shower or throw up.
Either of them.
Yeah. Fuck them. All right. Talking about racist people. So you remember Sweet Baby Ray, right? He quit NASCAR Truck Series with 0 wins. But it wasn't about the flag, right? Well, and then Bubba Wallace drove in a Black Lives Matter car. And I was like, man, maybe I like NASCAR now. Well, I'm not alone. Alvin Kamara, who you might remember as the only not terrible New Orleans Saint. He's still the worst, but he's not as bad as like Sean Payton or Drew Brees. He went to the Dixie Vodka 400 in Miami, wore some Bubba Wallace stuff, and stayed for the whole race and like got into racing. Kind of reminded me about that guy who was like live tweeting his first hockey game. Like he was watching the St. Louis Blues. He was, do you guys remember this thread? He was like a 3-year-old black guy. He had never watched hockey before, and he's like, oh man, hockey. He's like live tweeting. He's like, hockey's the only thing on. And he's like, wait, what the fuck? They're punching each other? Oh shit, now the goalie came out. And he's like talking about this. And the Blues were like, hey, come to our next playoff game. And they like brought him in. He's like a lifelong hockey fan now, because he's like, this is fantastic. So like what Ryan asked was, have your opinions of NASCAR changed since they banned the Confederate flag and since Baby Ray quit? You know, it has for me. I know that I'm like, maybe I'll watch NASCAR now, sort of to like reinforce to NASCAR, like, hell yeah, I hate the Confederacy. You know, like, what about you guys? Do you see maybe a shift in NASCAR as far as like the demographics that appreciate it and approve it? Or are you going to watch more cars driving around in circles?
I know that, and Micah probably has some input on this since he hangs out with those people going to tractor pulls. But
Ooh, buddy.
my outlook changed on it. I've had quite a few friends that have told me in the past that, you know, I like NASCAR. I just would never go to an event because I know there are tons of racists there. So yeah, I think it's a very socially conscious move, and I think it's the most direct statement I've seen from any of these organizations saying, hey, look, fuck these guys and fuck everything they stand for. We don't want any part of it. And if that's who our fan base is, oh well.
Mako.
Bro,
You
well,
watch NASCAR now, man?
I think NASCAR, I think I applaud them because it's amazing. First of all, their social media team is top notch. They went in on your boy, Sweet Ray.
Who are you?
Sweet
You're like,
Baby
we had to
Ray.
Google you, bro. It's like,
Yeah, and we work here.
but and to their credit, I think before that they initiated this actual ban, they had already had like a soft ban where they're like, we don't allow those, but obviously people bucked. But I just think the nature of the whole racing in circles things just will never really appeal to me, especially because the cars aren't cool. They all look the same. And is Bubba Wallace biracial? I'm looking at a picture of this man.
I
Does
believe
anyone
so.
have the intel on that?
I'm
I
looking.
think so.
He's from Mobile, Alabama. His parents are Daryl Sr.
His mom's black.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, that alone, I didn't even know there were black drivers like that. I had no idea.
Well, he's the only one, really.
he's the
Is
only
he?
one. He's kind of like Lewis Hamilton.
Okay.
Bubba Wallace Sr. is a white man.
White man, black woman. All right.
It looks like that's his dad.
I know Desiree. I see her.
Yeah. Daryl Wallace Jr. He's from Mobile, Alabama. It's a real country boy. All right. Well, since we've decided that NASCAR is acceptable and we like it now, we should go ahead and pick a NASCAR team to root for the remainder of the season. I have chosen, because I get to go first as the primary host of this show, or the guy who talks the most, I'm picking Richard Petty Motorsports, home of the one and only Bubba Watson. He may be 25th in the standings, but he's number one in my heart. Ryan, who are you rooting for NASCAR?
I'm going to go Roush Fenway.
Okay.
Just because I like Roush Mustangs. I know very little about teams, but I'm going to go, I'm going to pick them. It seems like their star driver is Ryan Newman. I thought about going a little more obvious, but I'm going to go Roush Fenway just because they make fast cars.
It's so fast. Micah, who's your NASCAR team for the rest of the year?
I'm riding with the same team as you. Bubba Watson is the man, and to be bold enough to make that kind of statement, to make a Black Lives Matter car, knowing that the
day after they banned the Confederate flag.
Oh yeah, and like it just put that stake even deeper in the hearts of those folks who, oh God.
Now this boy driving around in the Black Lives Matter car. It's a government.
Terrorists.
Doesn't NASCAR know that all lives matter?
Why they gotta bring their politics into my cars driving around in circles while I'm drinking Bud Light? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever team Bubba Wallace is on, but what team was Jeff Gordon on? That's the only like NASCAR driver I ever even freaking knew.
Didn't he retire?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that. So
now.
what team was he on?
Things changed. Dale Jr. Come on, man.
Yeah, Dale Jr.
That man was so good in a diet mountain.
Who's the one who killed somebody on the track?
Quite a few people.
No, he like ran him down. Like the dude got out of his car to complain to him, and Tony Stewart. Who was that?
He didn't kill him. He hit him, right?
Oh, he hit him.
Yeah, he killed him.
Did he kill him?
Yes.
No, he didn't kill him.
He vehicular homicide of that man.
Whatever, dude.
Are you spreading lies? I feel like you're telling lies here.
You have to say allegedly. You have to say allegedly so we don't get sued.
No, he definitely killed him.
Spotify's going to buy us now. Now we're going to have to get bought by One American News. We're going to be like Diamond. You guys are going to be like the male sports versions of Diamond.
You're talking about in the kart racing.
Yes.
That was
Stewart.
Tony Stewart. I do remember seeing that. I thought you were talking about NASCAR. I was like, how did he get away with it?
And he tried to pretend like it was just an accident, but he ran that fool down.
Oh man.
Tony Stewart's got crazy eyes though.
All right. So on that
He's a
somber
killer.
note. Another question for you. So when I was looking at like, should woke white people watch NASCAR, I found out that a lot of progressives watch for enjoyment WWE wrestling.
Mm.
It's big with like progressive young people, which I thought that was another, like redneck South Carolina thing, but it's like
Not what it used to be at all.
It's
not
huge.
like that at
Our WWE, okay, so WWE isn't even pretending it's real anymore, right? Like they gave up on that. Our current president, I don't know if you remember, but Vince McMahon's limo blew up.
all.
And our current president called to make sure that he was okay after his limo blew up because our current president didn't know that it was fake. I remember when that limo blew up, and how old were we, like 10 or something like that?
You were
Yeah,
older
around
than
then.
10. You might have been older than 10.
I was in middle school.
So maybe like 12 or something like that.
Between 10 and 13.
Yeah. I knew it was fake because I was like, they wouldn't televise a murder because I have critical thinking skills. So the WWE isn't even pretending that it's real anymore, which is great. I like that they're just embracing that it's soap operas with scantily clad men climbing all over each other. But are WWE wrestlers athletes?
I think so.
Defend yourself.
No, I think that most of them are extremely talented athletes. I mean, to do some of the stuff, even the stunts that they do, I mean, you got to be in great shape to do that. So, I mean, yeah, they're athletes.
Are dancers athletes?
Depends.
Depends on what?
Depends on if they actually can play another sport. Like wrestling itself might not be, but like you got like The Rock, who was a star defensive end at Miami, and then got into wrestling afterwards.
I think you're misunderstanding. I think he's not asking if wrestlers are athletic. He's asking if wrestlers qualify as an athlete.
Sort of like are NASCAR drivers athletes?
I think just because of they still take punishment in what they do. It's still physical in its nature. It's not real, but doing a somersault onto another person, even staged, is physically is hard to do. So I mean, I give it to them. I'll say they are. I don't necessarily know about dancers, but that yes.
Mako.
Yes, they're definitely athletes. If you check out this kid, Kofi Kingston, like some of the stuff he does in the ring could be on ESPN, like top 10. Like he's that impressive. He's that acrobatic. And not to mention, like he said, the bumps that they take, flying off the turnbuckles, flying out the ring. Yeah, it's scripted, but that stuff takes out of them and it hurts them. And the blood is real. Like the injuries are real. I mean, it begs the question, can sports be scripted and still, still be that? But we saw the 2016 NBA finals. So.
Oh, shut up. That was good. That was no lie. That was pretty funny. But like, what about like gymnastics, right?
Those are athletes.
Gymnastics is a sport, but their routines are scripted. They know ahead of time what they're going to do. That's why I asked the dancers question, because unlike combat sports, WWE wrestling is completely scripted, but it is still required like a feat of strength, and agility. So should it be considered less of a combat sport and more of like individual sport like gymnastics, like on that sort of level? Ryan, what do you think? Do you think they're athletes, man?
Yeah, they're certainly athletes. But at the same time, when I say that, a picture of Mick Foley comes into my head. Mankind.
Oh, Mankind was my favorite.
He was a big guy. He was like 6'2".
He was a chunky fellow.
Well, I mean,
and like Gold Dust.
You got like Rikishi.
Oh yeah, Rikishi. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Weren't the Dudley Boys both rather large?
Yeah, but they used to jump off top ropes and they went through as many tables as Bills fans.
Nice reference.
Get the tables.
So I mean, they are in some way they're athletic. I'm having a hard time breaking the connotation of sports and athlete. So they are athletic as long as we don't include sport in the definition of athlete.
Should I spring for a WWE Network subscription?
I have it. It's amazing. If you're a fan at all, it's amazing. They have literally everything, like WCW, ECW too, if you like those. Like, it's literally all on there. Every Raw, every SmackDown, every Heat.
I used to watch pretty regularly. So they had like, I remember the first SmackDown when it was on UPN, and it was broadcast live. And The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin had that like that title match, that marquee match. And Stone Cold came out and was like, gave the finger to The Rock on live broadcast television. And I was like, oh shit. And then they had they had like the syndicated like Saturday version that was like, it wasn't
Heat. They had Velocity.
Heat
They
was
had-
the one that I think I remember watching, and
That
that
was, I
came,
think it was Sundays.
WCW.
that came right after Mortal
Nitro.
Kombat Conquest.
Nitro
was-
Kombat Conquest.
Yeah, and then they had Monday Night Raw, which I never watched because it was too late. So like I enjoy wrestling. I haven't watched since that like Stone Cold, The Rock, when the Hardy
Era.
Boys were goth.
Yeah.
Would I enjoy it now?
I still watch all the old stuff. So I'm really on the app just watching all the old stuff. I
So
think,
you're Micah, but for wrestling.
yeah, no, because their new storylines are unforgivably bad. And then now that they don't even have like fans, it's just that much harder. But Randy Orton and Edge had a great match at the pay-per-view that was on Sunday, which was Backlash. That was very
Isn't
a lot
the
of-
Undertaker still wrestling?
They signed him to like for the rest of his life, like a couple weeks ago.
That's when I
The
stopped watching.
undead.
When
So
he was
forever.
when he was a biker. That was when I stopped watching.
Yeah.
I am American badass.
the last ride.
Rolling.
Does Jim Ross still do?
He's with AEW now.
Oh, they got rid of Jim Ross.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He's like creative. Oh my God. He's the creative, one of the creative guys at AEW.
Yeah, I don't know how many folks I recognize from when I actually did watch wrestling. So
That's my new thing now. You know how I do Tebow time and like I help lead on soccer on this podcast? I'm gonna get into wrestling now. I'm gonna do that like let me see. What's this WWE network subscription? Let me just add it.
$9.99 a month.
So, has there been a better platform than wrestling to launch into or to propel someone's career into acting? Because if you think about all the people that have jumped over, and
Mostly The Rock. Who else really?
John Cena, Stone Cold did some things, Goldberg did some things,
Triple H did some things.
Triple H. Yeah, I mean they've all
don't
done.
forget about Batista.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batista's a freaking he's
That's true.
He's getting paid now.
Don't forget about WWE films. Remember
Yeah,
when that was a
Right.
thing?
Because I mean, I guess
The Rock-
it is
The Rock took
acting.
it to a whole nother level. Yeah.
well, but to be honest with you, it's like the elite characters in WWE often go on to do other stuff, but you have some who are the top wrestlers, but they don't have that same stage presence.
I think
Yeah.
the problem with wrestling is like there's sort of the alpha energy that you used to have is sort of gone. So I feel like everybody's very friendly and everybody's sort of like there's no real like hate or love involved. It's just like, oh, that guy's talented. He hits high spots
And the best acting role of any wrestler is Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. Anybody want a peanut?
So, Marco, I have a problem with what you just said.
I knew you would.
You said that the alpha energy is missing.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
You sound like Micah when he's talking about the NBA. He's like, everybody's friends now. Nobody tries to shoot each other after the game. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Like, why is that a bad thing to you?
It's different when everything's story driven. So when you have just a competitive sport and you're watching for the sport, but half of the reason why wrestling was so entertaining is because of the characters. So if your characters are just sort of middle of the road guys, don't really have much personality, aren't assholes like Stone Cold and flicking people off, or The Rock like talking shit to everybody. I mean, it's like they try, but it's like rehashed versions. I just don't think people are like that anymore. I just think it's a different generation. Like the Attitude Era would not work today. Like all the crazy stuff they used to do. Like,
And it's a lot more PC now. Like I remember, what was it, Sable getting her like top ripped off with
having the hands on her boobs.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And it's none of that. Definitely.
that was a great day as a preteen.
I'll be so honest, like as a little 10, 11-year-old kid, it was seeing like the divas that really like made me keep the channel there. And then I learned everything else.
Stratus.
Trish Stratus. I was like, oh my God, Trish. I was like,
Oh yeah.
did that answer your question, Lionel? I don't know.
Yeah, but I hate it. I hate the answer I got. Sorry, I'm signing up for the WWE network. as we're talking.
It's a ringing endorsement for them.
Does anybody?
They're having their lowest ratings of all time right now.
Well, I mean, we're all dying of coronavirus.
Right, but there's nothing else to watch on TV. Like, how do they still manage?
Suck! I just got that subscription. I'm about to. Jessica's gonna be so mad at me because I'm gonna start watching wrestling with my kids.
She's gonna look at you like, "Who are you? What is wrong with you?"
This is your fault. You told me to buy a pickup truck, and now I'm full on redneck. I've got fireworks and a Kroger bag in the laundry room. I'm gonna set them motherfuckers off. All right, so just like a PSA before we go lightning round. PSA for everybody. Antifa stands for anti-fascist. Okay? Antifa is not a terrorist organization. It's not an organization at all. There is no regional manager of Antifa. There is no general in command of Antifa. It's just a bunch of people who all agree that punching Nazis is the best way of handling them. And I think everyone should get on board. And in another example of Republicans and conservatives projecting all of the violence being perpetrated recently across the United States, or at least most of it, has been tied to right-wing militia groups who are full of white cosplatriots who are too scared to join the military, but will put a 3%er sticker on their car, who forgot what actually fighting government overreach and suppression was, because they don't care that cops are killing their fellow citizens, because what they really care about is being white. And they're trying to start Civil War II Boogaloo. So if you see somebody talking about the Boogaloo, it's because it's a play on, Break Into Electric Boogaloo. It's a play on that. So they're trying to start the second Civil War, and they have been, everything that Donald Trump says about Antifa, replaced with racist white militants, and that's what's actually happening. They're traveling across state lines. They're heavily armed. They're killing people. They killed an 18-year-old girl at a stoplight. Antifa is not a terrorist organization. It's just people who like punching fucking Nazis because Nazis suck. Please, if anyone, I would punch a Nazi if I saw one on the street. I wouldn't even stop. I would just punch them right in the fucking face. I don't care. And if that makes me Antifa because I'm anti-fascist, okay. But if any person who's listening to this fucking podcast comes to me on social media, it's like, but what about Antifa? I'm going to just ridicule you as quickly as possible, and then make sure that I tell you how stupid you are, and then block you, and then talk shit about you on this podcast. We're like 24 people that listen to this podcast right now. If you want 24 of my closest friends to know that you're a fucking idiot, that's a quick way to do it. Antifa is not a thing you should worry about. You should worry about the crazy racist militia folks who are out there in the woods being like, man, I can't wait till them blacks try to rise up, then the South will rise again. Hell yeah. I fucking hate this country sometimes, even though I love it. Lightning round. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The NBA tournament is coming up. The Atlanta Hawks are not playing. Who are you rooting for, Ryan?
I'm going to go. Can I pick a finals? The finals I want to see?
No, you have to pick a team that you're going to follow in the tournament.
I'll follow the Bucks then, just because of Coach Bud.
Mako.
Oh, man, there's so many people. Like, Giannis is Nigerian, but I'm going to go with the Rockets. I want to see Westbrook and James Harden F up the league and get a freaking championship.
That's a cool storyline, not going to lie.
95% of their shots coming from outside the three-point line. Micah would die. Micah, who are you following?
I'm going to follow the strangest man in the NBA, the robot, Kawhi Leonard.
At the Clips. What it do, baby? Boardman gets paid. Boardman gets paid, man. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna follow the Lake show. I'm gonna follow LeBron and the Lakers. I would say Zion and the Pelicans, but they're owned by Gail Benson, who also owns the Saints, and so fuck them by association. I love you, Zion. Fuck Gail Benson. All right, recommendation for the week: summer hangout spot around Atlanta, or if you have an equivalent spot. Marco, what's your summer hang, man?
Summer hangout spot. Thought COVID-19, you need to stay your ass home, boy.
Okay, that you just saying that because I took your rims. Dude, where's my car? What's your hang, Marco? Come on.
Where have I been hanging? Come back to me if I think of something in this brief short seconds. I'll say it.
I don't like you anymore. Micah, what's your hang?
I legitimately hang out nowhere but home.
Micah works.
Yeah, I work 7 days a week and I go home.
Bobo, what's your hang?
Any trail that's in the local Atlanta area or in the North Georgia mountains, getting out there.
Cascade Springs yet?
Not yet.
It's in downtown. It's like West Atlanta. There's like a little like well and a waterfall and some other shit that's like tucked back into this trail. Highly recommended. Cascade Springs. It's in the A.
Oh, I've seen these pictures. Yeah.
Mako, come on. What's your hang, dude?
My hangout spot is the Vault. That's where I've hung out the most.
If you can't see, that's what Ryan's corner of the basement at his house is called. It's called the Vault, and
Because we're the dollars.
it's a giant. The sign looks like it's like made on an old school label maker.
Yes, sir.
When it's really big. They spent more time on like the interior design for that corner of their room than I've spent on any part of my house for my entire life. That's not true. When I was 16, I painted one wall of my room red.
Ooh.
Just one?
What a statement.
Yeah.
Was that for Georgia?
No, it was because
It's for his teenage angst.
and the color of my hair.
I'm seeing red.
Seeing red again. It's Chevelle. Don't knock Chevelle, man.
Chevelle was pretty dope.
Chevelle continues to be an excellent band.
I've fallen off the wagon. Two things. Alvin Kamara is from Norcross, Georgia.
Yeah.
He plays for the Saints. I don't care.
I know. That's the thing that sucks so bad. And Vince McMahon was killed in 2007.
What?
Oh,
Right.
So
it was 21 when Vince McMahon died in WWE.
That's
Well,
what this
what
website
happened
just
was
said.
he got killed in the limo, and then Chris Benoit actually died, so he had to come back.
Oh yeah, Benoit. That he was the steroid killed his whole family thing, huh?
Yeah, so they were gonna run with that angle, but then Chris Benoit actually died, so he had to come back the next day.
Ugh.
I feel like I was much younger when that happened.
So wait, Donald Trump thought that Vince McMahon died in a car bomb the year before Barack Obama was elected president. Our current president is the dumbest person I've ever met. I'm just in honor of the president who just had a birthday the other day. I'm gonna drink water like him.
Obama Day?
Donald Trump's birthday is the same day as my wedding anniversary, and it makes me furious.
According to QAnon, he was doing that to.
With the what? I missed this.
I don't know. I forget. I'm not even gonna rehash that stupid ass video, but
We'll
there
do
was some reason.
we'll
There was
do-
something about exposing pedophiles.
We'll do a QAnon episode later, like a whole episode dedicated to just being like, this is why you are all stupid. With that. Bet. Okay, cool. I think that's it. Next week, let's do MLS deep dive, Atlanta United. Let's look at the roster. Let's talk about how we stack up for this preseason tournament. Micah can come in the second half. He can skip the whole soccer part. Live sports tomorrow, 3:15 p.m. Eastern time. Arsenal faces Manchester City, and it's their first game in 102 days. Yeah, it's been a long
Time off.
Let's see what happens. I can't wait. If you want to find something cool, go ahead and Google Bundesliga virtual crowds. They legitimately added just like polka dots over the stands and some of this. You know what? I'm just going to show it because I don't think you guys are going to actually look it up. So let me pull this up. Bundesliga. I'm gonna go to
Polka dots?
Yeah, I'll show you. It's way worse than you're imagining it to be.
Whatever you think it is.
Oh, Lionel, I'm disappointed you didn't catch my Dan Quinn Stone Cold reference in the notes.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
What did you say?
So, in an interview on a Skype or a FaceTime, I'm sorry, what are we on? Zoom interview with the Falcons, and Dan Quinn gets on there every time. They asked him if he would support his players that would be protesting during the games on and off the field. And he answered, "Hell yeah!" So I put on there as he then cracked open a beer, lifted it into the air, poured it down his throat, and then stone cold stunned the nearest reporter next to him.
You know, I actually am gonna start really reading your notes.
They take a while. And they're good.
I definitely saw it.
Because I would have read that straight. And like I would have just read it word for word and it would have been perfect. But because I'm an asshole, I didn't read it. Here you go. It was La Liga.
Oh, that looks like an N64.
Yeah, hold on. What?
Yeah. So that's what their fake crowd looked like.
So wait, they painted the seats, or this is imposed?
Superimposed.
What is the polygon count on this?
They're running it off of Marco's PS2. They're actually all flat. I'm just trying to understand how, like, we can make Thanos out of Josh Brolin, but y'all can't put, like, a realistic-looking crowd.
Like, just run the FIFA engine.
Right. Okay. The other thing is that the Premier League is going to allow things like teams to play music during certain times, players to have custom goal music and entry music. So it's legitimately turning the Premier League into a mix of professional wrestling and baseball. I'm going to be watching every game I can get my hands on. All of them are going to be on NBC Sports Network or NBC. Please watch so that we can joke about it. Was there anything else that we want to cover? Our bench draft for our best bench players NBA sim season. It's going to be coming up pretty soon. Keep an eye on our Twitter feed for when we're going to be doing that. You can watch it live on Twitch or catch it later. It promises to be funny. It's too late to order soy sauce. Carl's sold out. Next time, maybe you can buy some. Check it out. Anyway,
maybe you're cool enough to get on the soy sauce train.
It's just so good. That Reaper is. I actually bought 3 extra bottles of the Reaper because I'm going to make wing sauce out of it this weekend. I can't wait. And then I just have to find. I tried to get chicken wings from Kroger the other day, and they were huge,
big soaked ones.
Yeah. I just want some regular ass sized chicken wings, man. Like, what the fuck?
For those of you that have never had Lionel's grilling and cooking, maybe mainly grilling, he's an excellent grill master.
Thank you.
Are you frying or grilling? How are you making these wings?
I was probably gonna fry them.
Yeah, you gotta fry 'em.
I don't have an air fryer, so I was just gonna fill a big pot with some canola oil and drop that bitch in there and see what happens. But I'm gonna try to make some wing sauce because this
YOLO.
Whew. All right. Anything else, gents? We good?
Yep. Check out the Twerk Circus tonight.
Twerk Circus, yeah.
Tuesday.
Our intro music is by Juan Solano, aka Vatilas. Find him on all of our social stuff. Rate the podcast. Give it a thumbs up on Spotify. Give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. We're available wherever your favorite podcasts are given away for free. Check us out on social. Please don't at me on Twitter. I will not respond to you. I don't care. Follow me on Instagram, though, if you want to be converted to radical leftism and abolish the police. Thank you very much for listening. This has been the Fish and Grits podcast. Bye.
And whoever gave us a 2-star rating, let us make it right. Come back to us.
Give you that Stone Cold Stunner.
Bye, everybody.